Hello, I'm going to be streaming Shadow of the Colossus, the PS4 remake. Let's just fire this up. I'm choosing normal difficulty because this is the default experience, and I believe in the original PS2 version there actually wasn't an easy mode. There was no easy mode. It was just normal and hard. So I'm choosing normal. All right. Game doesn't tell you this, but the main character's name is Wander, and his horse's name is Agro. In case anyone is unaware, Shadow of the Colossus originally came out for the PS2. They made a PS3 version that was bundled in with the Eco remake, which was also for PS2. And both of the games for the PS3 version had support for 3D graphics. And then they remade Shadow of the Colossus the second time for the PS4, which is the version I'm playing now. That girl is dead, by the way.
Was you hik? Awel ye forol. Ikudu ibikuka. Yulzol ayondu. Yulilo kok. Ayuzi yulakordoloya. Olik olazulam kas. Ilzozeriku atzoko. Amnos Cluedo. Laumism walk. Was you at the last also? Few houses is will. Ikolor kizado you lola. Islis was I.
When he says beings created from light, he's referring to creatures made of shadow, because light creates shadow. The dead girl's name is Mono. So these would be the creatures created from light, because they're shadow people. And if you've played the game Eco, this will look familiar to you. For context, Eco is a very different type of game than Shadow of the Colossus. However, it's implied that Shadow of the Colossus is a sequel to Eco, taking place possibly hundreds of years in the future.
Dormi for Alula. Ostu Halwa Hukiwaikwa. Ujes Yazu Sudoko was not the cure with you.
I will answer. I will be your item. Cute.
Is Kyoku. It is all of you equal. It's not all unusual.
The concept of her being cursed and therefore sacrificed will have an interesting consequence for the story of Eco. Note how the voice, the being is named Dorman. Dorman was acted surprised to see that Wander possessed the sword. And the reason for that is because Wander stole the sword. It does not belong to him.
I'll bet. You do. You bet, Sanada.
I should point out that the name Dorman, I mean, in a sense, it sounds like the Spanish word dormir for sleep, or or dormitory, but it also sounds like the word dormant. Either way, it implies that Dorman is dormant to some extent. Dorman's power is sealed away, basically. Missed. These white-tailed lizards, if you kill one of them and collect their tail, they'll slightly increase your stamina. So my stamina just increased by 1 unit. It's not super worthwhile to try to hunt them down, because each white-tailed lizard increases your stamina by 1 unit, whereas killing a Colossus increases your stamina by 8 units. So defeating Colossi makes more sense, but if you happen to see a white-tailed lizard on the way, you might as well just get it, just for an extra boost of stamina. Same with these fruit. These fruit, they increase your maximum health by a little bit. But I'm not super concerned with collecting the fruit and lizards. I just wanted to show that mechanic off. I'll probably grab some as I come across them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to hunt for them. I'm just going to be skipping these cutscenes for the intro to the Colossus, because all it really does is just show that there's a Colossus there. Notice that this thing appears to be wearing almost like horseshoes, and that these horseshoes will have a definite pattern to them, and there's rings on them, almost as if his feet were chained up to something. This will be sort of a recurring theme you see in the design. I believe at one time a lot of these colossi were restrained, hence why some of them are wearing external structures. And notice how his eyes are actually spinning. Eyes aren't supposed to do that for organic creatures. He's done. Yeah, this one has those loops all over him. His chest, his legs, his face. This is what you have on a creature that you want to tightly restrain. I'll be skipping most of these cutscenes, but I'll let the first one play out. Where each time you kill a Colossus, one of the shadow people stands over you. And the more you kill, the more shadow people there are. It should go without saying that statues are not supposed to contain light like that inside of them. I'll skip this part. So, in a lot of video games, when you're attacking a big boss, they have a weak point, and you attack the weak point to do damage, right? Well, with these Colossi, you're not technically attacking a weak point, you're attacking these seals made of light. So it's almost as if you're not necessarily attacking the Colossus itself, you're attacking a seal on Dorman's power, and the Colossus is meant to represent that. And when you defeat the Colossus, one of those statues is destroyed, and light seeps out from within. So it looks like you're defeating these Colossi, but you're really destroying the seals on Dorman's power. And in the case of the game mechanics, the part of the Colossi you're attacking is literally the seals. I like how the camera angle here gives you such a grandiose sense of scale. And by the way, this world actually is really empty. There's no enemies aside from the Colossi to fight, and there's only 16 of them. And this is seen as this game is often criticized for having such a vast, empty world, but I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as part of the story that the game is trying to tell. And there's a few reasons, I think, why having such a huge, empty world is a good thing here. One being a point I just mentioned, which is that it helps create that sense of scale of you being a small person among giants. You know, a lot of games give you a power fantasy, right? Where you're a powerful character and you mow down weak foes. Well, here you're the weakling in a land full of powerful foes. And everything about this land, from the size of everything to how easily you trip and fall and stumble over the slightest movements by a Colossus, all reinforce that sort of inversion of power fantasy. Here I need to shoot the bomb up its feet. Go away, aggro. Jumping is a bit of a risky maneuver, but it really helps get where you're going without wasting too much stamina. And this might be risky, but the seal hasn't appeared yet unless you get really close or you use your sword to reflect the light beam to where it's at. Okay. I'm actually kind of low on stamina. Let me recover some. Cool. Okay. That's done. And this one actually has, on normal mode, 2 seals. So I have to get one on its head now. And as you can tell, a lot of these things have skeletons that are partially protruding from their body, partially exoskeletons. And so it can be interesting to see, you know, which parts are actually part of their body, like the skeletons, the horns, and all that, and which parts, like this mask, are obviously added on later. Like, I don't think this mask is part of his body. Alright. So the first 2 Colossi are pretty easy. Number 3 can be somewhat of a challenge. And notice how after each victory there's some triumphant music that sounds hopeful, but then this happens, and there's a little bit of an ominous tone there. Now there's 2 shadows. And to point something out, when the game first starts, Wander looks healthy. Like, he looks normal. As you kill more and more Colossi, his health will start showing signs of deterioration. He'll become paler, and you'll start seeing veins appearing on his neck. These, I'll show it later. I was going to show off the save temple, but we'll see plenty of examples of those. Aggro can be a little bit hard to control. So in a lot of games, when you're riding a horse, you're controlling the horse. But in this game, you're controlling Wander, who's controlling the horse. They want to make it feel like the horse is his own being. I want to mention something about this bridge, briefly. So, the bridge is where Wander first enters the game, right? Each of these little half arcs is leaning on the one next to it, and on the one next to that, and so on and so on, all the way to Dorman's temple. So if someone, this is the only entrance into the Forbidden Lands, by the way. So if someone wants to enter the Forbidden Lands, they have to cross this bridge, and they have to enter Dorman's temple, where they would no doubt be subject to whatever Dorman may want to tempt them with. And it's highly likely that Dorman is a big part of the reason why these lands are forbidden in the first place. You know, one thing about having to travel empty space to get to the next fight is it gives you time to think. So this game, they could have made it a simple boss rush, where you fight one boss, then you're immediately sent to the location of the next boss fight, and so on and so on. But the fact that you have to travel to them, it gives you time to reflect and think about your mission. It should also make you reflect on whether or not you're the good guy or the bad guy. Because these Colossi aren't coming to you to fight you. They're minding their own business. You're seeking them out to attack them. And if this were a simple boss rush where you just teleport it to the boss arena, that wouldn't convey the message as effectively as having to physically look for them, to seek them out and find them. You know, a lot of video games try to tell stories as if they're movies, like with extremely long cutscenes, or sometimes, like if they're Skyrim, they'll have books inside, so they'll try to tell stories like they're books. But I think video game storytelling works best when they try to tell stories in the way that is unique to video games as a medium, not when they're trying to imitate books or movies. And this example of having to seek out these Colossi to kill them, that's an example of storytelling using video games as a medium. Okay. You don't want to mess this jump up because it's a long swim back. This one I can show something interesting off. Its eyes are blue because it's not being aggroed yet. It's not aggressive. And if I can reveal its weak points by shining the light. But yeah, when it's not aggressive, they're blue. But when they're about to attack you, or they're aggressive, it turns to orange. What living creature does that? That's why... See, now it's orange. So these creatures definitely aren't organic in the traditional sense. These are artificial beings. Okay. The goal was to get it to hit that metal plate in the center. to shatter its arm guard. You can actually defeat this without shattering the arm guard. I just wanted to show off that mechanic. Yeah, in fact, now I have to get it to not attack the metal plate so I can jump on the sword. If you're doing time attack, then you definitely want to avoid the metal plate. Okay, this can be a little bit tricky. Oh, come on. Alright. Let's see. This Colossus can be pretty annoying. Come on, attack me already. Like, if I was doing time attack, this attempt would already be doomed to failure. Because he's not attacking. Probably gonna have to get some more distance here. Alright, I'm just gonna wait for him to come up to me, and then I'm gonna run past him. Because this is ridiculous. Like, what's he even doing? Wow. Just him stepping near me makes you fall over and lose health. That's also sort of signaling that, you know, reinforcing the idea that you're a powerless human in a land full of powerful creatures. That's the whole inversion of the power fantasy. This is a powerlessness fantasy. Okay, but right now this is just too frustrating to deal with. He's just not attacking. And I can't deal with that. His AI is broken. Like, what the hell is up with this? Yeah, something's wrong here. I might have to restart this fight because the AI is broken. See if they'll attack me now. Finally. Now hopefully this doesn't get messed up. Oh no, I'm too far away from him. Swung his sword like nowhere near me. Okay, I want him to attack me, not attack, you know, empty space nowhere near me. But, you know what, baby steps. This is such a waste of time. This is one of the Colossi I hate the most. For this reason. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can reset its AI by doing this. There we go. Let's see if that does the trick. Come on, attack me already, you stupid thing. And you may notice I did a little bit of damage to him. There's only like a very tiny amount of damage you're able to do with your bow. It like caps out after just a tiny amount. So it helps to weaken him a little bit, but it's not going to make much of a difference. The best you can, really the main purpose of the bow is to aggro them. Alright, attack me, you coward. Okay, I guess I might be here a while. And it might be easiest to run straight back, but you don't want him to hit the metal plate because his arm will just bounce off and you won't be able to climb up it. This is absurd. Like, this is gonna take all day if this... I just need to swing the sword down somewhat close to me. Like, is that too much to ask? Maybe whistling will help? It's supposed to call aggro, but I don't know. Let's... How am I supposed to do this if he's not going to attack? And by attack, I mean do his longer range sweeping attack. Please do something. Like, see, this attack I can't do anything with. I need him to do the, like, the slash attack. Finally. Wow. There, okay, I'll just play it safe and hold on. I don't think it's ever taken this long to do this before. And so this guy has 2 seals. I find it's easier to take care of the seal on the head first. And there's just after that, just like a little risky drop down maneuver to get to his stomach. Because of how difficult it was to get up here, I'm gonna play it safe and try to focus on conserving stamina over a quick finish. Like, I probably have enough stamina to win, but because of how he moves his head around like that, I can get low quickly, so I'm gonna focus on recovery. That hopefully does it for the head. No, still need like another staff or so to deal with the head. Okay, head's done. Now, recover stamina. And... whoa. When he's not shaking, the way to get to his stomach is to carefully try to drop down. Oh, that was actually kind of close. Wow, that took way too long. I don't think it's ever taken me that long for this Colossus before. This was beyond absurd. Good riddance. This sword shows you the way to the next Colossus, but actually it doesn't work when there's not sunlight. So once you get into this little crevice here, it'll stop working as well. Even the moment I enter this shadow, it gets much weaker. And here I don't see any beams at all. So navigation can sometimes be a challenge. Okay, so when it comes to narrow cliffs like this, aggro is pretty useless, so I'm just gonna go on foot. He can follow behind me fine, but when riding aggro, he just does not handle these things well. That and forest areas. There's something broken about aggro's pathing. Says I mentioned, you know, with how these colossi are pretty obviously artificial creatures. They seem somewhat reminiscent of from Jewish folklore golems, which are artificial beings created out of materials like clay, rock, metal, that are animated to serve as protectors. This may take a few tries, but the goal is to lure him over here and have him stand above this side and make him think I'm right below him. I am not sure that one worked. I don't know if he fell for that. I'm gonna try spying and see what I see. Did he take the bait? I don't know. Go away, aggro. Okay, I don't think that worked. Don't think he took the bait. I don't know, maybe. He's turning back around. There's two ways to get on top of him, I can come up from behind, or I can climb up his ears. At lower stamina, I find coming up from behind to sometimes be a little bit easier. Okay, I think he may have taken the bait here. And aggro likes to mess this part up. Okay, aggro left me alone this time. Nice. Once you're up here, this one's not so bad. Well, he won't be so bad once I get to his head. And I actually need to get 2 good hits on this weak point so that I can get to his head. Alright. Let me attack you already. There we go. Nice. See, with this one, it's very obvious that it's wearing something over its head, like a helmet. So clearly distinct from an exoskeleton. Alright, that's 4 Colossi down. And there are 16 of them in the game. Number 3 took so much longer than it should have. Okay. This next one can be pretty fun. It's the first Colossi that flies. So this game has auto-saving and manual saving, but in the PS2 version, these temples were the only way to save your game. And also, the white-tailed lizards tend to congregate on the temples, so there's usually at least one per save temple. Missed it, but... Oh, okay, I think I may have gotten it that time. Yeah, if you hit a wall near a lizard, even if you miss it, it'll knock them down and stun them for a few seconds. This gets so much easier if you complete the time attack mode and unlock bomb arrows. Other lizards that have just black tails don't do anything for you. It's specifically the white-tailed lizards that give you more stamina. All right. It's interesting to try to... The game doesn't really give you many clues as far as what civilization built all these structures that we find ourselves in. And there's really not much we can go on as far as speculation goes, but it's interesting nonetheless just to sort of marvel at this architecture. And just sort of wonder. It's sort of a reminder that it's okay not to have all the answers. If a game gives you more questions than answers, that's okay. And in a lot of cases, that's a good thing. Oh, and by the way, the PS4 version specifically has this weapon called the Sword of Dorman. And you can collect these 79 hidden coins to unlock it. You cannot do that in one playthrough. So I'm not even going to try to collect them. It takes several playthroughs at least in order to do that. Like, I would say, like, you're looking at around probably like 4 New Game Plus cycles. Just because there's some items you need that you obtain from time attack mode, and you need to max out your stamina in order to obtain some of them. And you can only do that by beating the game in multiple New Game Plus cycles. So I'm not even going to try anything with this Dorman sword at all. There we go. That went smoothly. Now the hard part is running across this wing without falling. That was the close one. And afterwards, like I said, tilt upside down like that, so you can when you're upside down, you lose stamina faster. So it's very easy to run out of stamina with this guy. No, I don't want to grab that. Cool, okay. 2 down, and now I have to get to the tip of its tail. And there's a good chance I'll fall off here. Yeah, okay. Hanging upside down makes your stamina deplete extremely rapidly. So now I have a kind of a long swim. I don't think that area will work. I think I have to go to the one with... Let's see, that has 4 little land islands. That has 2. I think I specifically need one with the 3 land islands. But you know what? I'll try the 2. Sometimes baiting out specific Colossus behavior can be a little bit weird. So the good news is, once I get on top of them this time, this last seal is the easiest one. Okay, I don't know if I hit him or not, but it sounds like I did. So we'll see if he dive bombs. Okay, he's aggroed, so let's hope this works. Okay, I guess he needs more space. Maybe? Nice. You can get down to his tail quickly by jumping, but I don't want to risk it. And this one takes a while since you're in the water. As you kill more and more Colossi, that voice you hear in this part becomes a little bit more clearer. But even when it's at its clearest, it's a foreign language, so I have no idea what it's saying. So one complaint I do have about the PS4 version is there's a lot more greenery in the forest. And the reason that's a bad thing, the PS2 version looked a lot more barren, which was more consistent with the theme of this game. The land is supposed to be barren. It's a forbidden land. The only wildlife you see throughout most of the land are the lizards, fish, and birds. That's pretty much it. It's a forbidden land where life is not supposed to be able to thrive. So all this lush greenery, it's at odds with, I think, the original version of this game. It looks nicer, but it's not supposed to look nice. It's supposed to be a barren landscape. That signals to the player that this is a forbidden land, life is not supposed to thrive here, and you're not supposed to be here. That's the message it should be conveying. This is another little, this is actually a little Easter egg. This little glowing barrel here, this is just an Easter egg reference to The Last Guardian. A game made by the same people. Thematically, The Last Guardian shares a lot in common with Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, but in my opinion, is not as good as either of those two games. Okay, as a shortcut, I'm just gonna, well, may not let me jump. There we go. I wonder if increasing your maximum HP will instantly refill your HP. Let's test it out. It does, okay. And there's more fruit in the trees, but I'm not really that concerned. There's only really 2 Colossi in this game where health is actually an issue. Like the last Colossi, number 16, it can definitely kill you pretty easily. And if you're at low health, it can pretty much one-shot you. So health upgrades are nice to have for that one. And there's like 1 or 2 others where having a lot of health can be useful, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. Your stamina matters more than your health. Now, this is Colossus number 6, and you may notice once you start fighting it, this horseshoe pattern that it's wearing is basically identical to the first Colossus. It has that little door pattern on its horseshoes. The significance being that it's more confirmation that these are external devices that were put on these Colossi. Yep. Just the fact that it stepped somewhere close to me was enough to cause Wonder to topple over. You're actually still live during this cutscene, so this cutscenes like this can really mess you up. I honestly don't know why it's necessary. I don't need to see a cutscene to know that he's chasing me. Or that something that huge is capable of toppling a small wall like that. Alright, so now the plan here is just to hide from him. And eventually he'll come looking for me. Alright. Oh, let me recover, because I wasn't able to get a stab in. Okay. So close that time. Finally. Yeah, let me recover some more. Alright. And now this other seal, you're gonna need a lot of stamina to complete this in one go. So let me just recover. Okay, this could take some time. See, identical horseshoes, and you're gonna notice the same with Colossus number 15. So a lot of these Colossus seem to have some stuff in common. Like I say, I think they're artificial beings similar to the whole Jewish concept of a golem, and I think for several of these Colossi, they were sort of modeled after like the same template or same mold. Both in terms of, you know, this being a creative work, as well as an in-universe lore explanation. The next Colossus is in the water. Okay, number 7. So number 3 took a long time, much longer than normal, but I think I'm making up quite a bit of time, actually. not sure this is the right way. I'll be able to tell in a minute once I get to the sunlight. Nope, okay. Go this way. I actually don't think I've seen this sort of navigation concept copied by other games before. Yeah, this sword is mostly useless in this part of the map. Okay, that's not the right way, but... Oh, you know what? I bet it's to the east, actually. Okay. There is a special sword you can get from time attack mode that will show beams just as bright in any lighting conditions at all. But of course, you actually have to beat the game first in order to unlock time attack. Okay, I think I'm on the right path now. Any lizards? I know there's one on the temple. I'm just gonna do a quick pass over, and if I see it, I shoot it. If I don't see it, I'll keep moving. Okay. Didn't see it. So this one, I needed to get his attention, so come up and attack me, and I can get on his back, and I have to disable its electric things. This is gonna take most likely 2 cycles, because at some point he's gonna despawn aggro, and I'm gonna have to repeat this process again. I believe that part is probably scripted. Like, I don't know if there's a way of avoiding that. So at minimum, I am gonna need, 2 cycles of getting his attention. Possibly more, depending on how quickly I can do this. And so the goal is to swim close enough to grab onto his tail when the time comes, but not so close that I get electrocuted. Okay, there, got it. And you can only move when you're above water. So when I'm underwater, I cannot progress at all. I don't know why, but... Oh no. And you definitely don't want to let go when you're underwater. Alright, if I can at least get the third one before he de-aggroes, I'll be doing okay. And that'll just leave the head afterwards. That was close. He almost went into the water and electrocuted. So above water, these things are pretty harmless. Is once these things come into contact with water that they discharge electricity. And the change in music is what let me know that he de-aggroed. So I have to let go and reacquire aggro. But now that these electric things are out of the way, I can more easily get to his head. And the idea is just to swim above him so that he sees you. I'm waiting for his eyes to turn orange. And that'll let me know that he's noticed me. There we go. Got him. And I'll hopefully surface this before I run out of stamina. There we go. Easy enough. And once I get to his head, he can be a little. He can do stuff like that to try to lose you. Okay, so instead of running to his head, I'm just gonna crawl when I'm surfaced. Because I really don't want to get thrown off right now. So close. Nice. 7 down. These post-death sequences always take the longest when you're in the water. For some reason. There we go. Number 8 can be dangerous if you're careless, but if you're playing it safe, he's really not. 9 and 10 are pretty dangerous though, and then after that they start becoming pretty safe until number 16. So far I haven't come close to being killed by one yet. But that'll likely change with number 16. You may notice that this game has a pretty unique aesthetic to it, and you'd be surprised at how influential this, even though Shadow of the Colossus and its predecessor Eco weren't the most commercially successful games ever, they were games that were successful with other game developers. They influenced a lot of other game designers. In particular, Hidetaka Miyazaki, the guy behind the games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I'm also noticing pretty undeniable influence on like games like The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess, for instance. That's another game that I plan to stream at some point. Breath of the Wild comes to mind, especially the concept of negative space. So Breath of the Wild also gets criticized for one of the main reasons that this game does, which is vast empty space. But that's kind of the point. So there's this, we call it negative space. There's also, in Japanese art, it's also known as ma, the space between things. It's meant to highlight what's important by showing the negative space around those important things. for this Colossus, we want to bait it to climb up high up and knock it down, because the higher height it falls from, the longer it's stunned. And we want it to be stunned for a while. Okay, so it's aggroed. And hopefully it doesn't see me, because I'm gonna try to sneak down. And we're up pretty high, so it's gonna take quite a few flights of stairs to get to the bottom. But if we did this right, then I can take him out in one cycle. And once I emerge, you have to be pretty fast to shoot out 2 of its legs. Okay. It's starting to get up, but we'll see. If I stun him for long enough, I can take him out in one cycle. Nice. You can actually get a trophy if you take him out in one cycle. This cutscene is slightly different, so I'll let it play out. And notice now he appears right at her side. Again, her name is Mono. She was sacrificed because she's believed to be cursed. Mono is a Japanese word that means object. And so obviously she was treated like one when she was sacrificed, but she's still being treated like one now, because Wonder is doing all this on her behalf, but she's not able to give her input into the situation. So a decision is being made about her without her input. Now granted, she's not able to give her input because she's dead, but still, she's, in a sense, still being treated as an object. Alright. Number 9. Okay, now this is the one that can kill you pretty easily. And you kind of need aggro for this in order to outrun its energy blast. Because I've tried dodging on foot and it just doesn't really work. As frustrating as aggro can be to control, it's worse on foot. If you're lucky, those hawks start flying up above head. If you're positioned just right when they're down low, you can actually jump off aggro and latch onto them. And there's even a trophy if you hold on to one of them for long enough. Now this ninth Colossus, the challenge is knocking it down and climbing up it. Then once you're on top of it, it's pretty easy going from that point on. I need to look for a land bridge. Okay, there it is. And I'm gonna need to position this Colossus over these geysers when they're erupting. So this fight can be a little bit frustrating. It helps just sort of ride in circles to lure them out. Nice. And then you gotta quickly shoot out these feet. Really? Okay. And then if I can climb up and allow him to stand up without falling, then the rest of this should be pretty easy. I have to get up here before he flips over, because if I'm upside down, if he's up, yeah. Okay, I'll just hold on like this. And then the only difficult part afterwards is getting off this side without falling. But once I'm here, it becomes still not safe yet, because he can still do quite a bit. So when he starts moving around like this, best to crouch and try to maintain a low center of gravity until you can get to his head. Oh, come on. That was close. Okay. I should be good from here. Okay, this fight actually went pretty smoothly. The one I'm worried about is the next Colossus, though. That one can be quite challenging. And the reason the next one's challenging is because you have to use your bow shooting behind you while riding aggro and avoid colliding into anything. It can be a challenge. Okay, we've got 9 out of 16 down. And I'm going to point something interesting out. I mentioned at first that Wander was relatively healthy. You can now start to, his skin is noticeably paler. And you can now see on his neck, you start seeing more visible veins. So obviously, what we're doing here is slowly killing him. But the thing is, he's so dedicated to his mission that he's ignoring all the obvious warning signs. And of course, in case it wasn't obvious, in this story, we're kind of the bad guy. We're doing a bad thing for good reasons. Like, obviously wanting to resurrect Mono, who was killed as a sacrifice, that's an admirable reason. But what we're doing to accomplish that is freeing this dormant creature who it's pretty obvious that this is not a creature that should be freed. Oh. I'm gonna try to grab that hawk. It's cool when you can actually do it, but it's pretty difficult to do. If I remember correctly, there's one particular hill that you could ride over, and if you time it right, it makes grabbing it much easier. But I don't remember where that is. I believe it's near Dorman's temple. Okay. Having some extra health would be useful for this fight. But again, like stamina, the most efficient way to increase your health is to kill Colossi, not to collect fruit. But it does help a little bit. Okay, that's enough for now. Dorman's temple can actually be climbed, but it's not possible to get your stamina up high enough in one playthrough. You pretty much have to do multiple New Game Plus cycles in order to increase your stamina to the extent that you're able to climb Dorman's temple. I may actually do that as part of the stream. I believe I should still have... I'll check. I should still have a save file where I have the stamina maxed out and can do that. And if so, I'll... After I beat this game, I'll climb the temple and show what's at the top. Because it's pretty interesting. Back camera angle on here. I don't know why they position some of these fruits to land on top of a steep slope where you're really not able to stand. I'm sure that, you know, they play tested this. And these things fall straight down, so it's not like there's a mystery as far as what spot these fruits will land on. Okay. Well, maybe he'll catch up by the time I get there. I'll just keep running and hope Aggro catches up. I don't know where he went. Okay. This is a Colossus that Aggro is required for. After this, 13 will be the next one that I need Aggro for, and then that should be it. I say normally that stamina is more important than health. This is one where your stamina really is not that important at all, but your health kind of is. Tomorrow I'm continuing my stream of Elden Ring, and I will be completing Academy of Rhea Lucaria tomorrow. So that should be interesting. And then Monday I should be finishing up my playthrough of A Plague Tale, and after that I'll be starting on The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Alright, this is one of the worst Colossus to fight in the game. Alright. Every playthrough, this is the one I dread the most. Okay, come on, Aggro, move. Get moving. See, I can't see what's in front of me, so hopefully I don't crash into anything. Nope. I did not. So you have to hit him in the eye. And of course it's hard because the eye is usually submerged under the sand. So I'm going to try doing a slight curve and see if that can expand my travel distance a little bit. I can't see, but you know, maybe if I go in like a pretty broad circle. Oh no, he's gonna change route. He's gonna change course. Okay, I was hoping he would follow me directly, but I guess not. No! Yeah, I ran to the edge of the map. This is not a good place. You really need a much bigger space to fight this thing in. Okay, I think I got him that time. Alright, this should take 2 cycles. So I can take out one of its weak points now. I mean, not weak points, seals, because that's important for plot reasons. Yeah, it's only gonna let me take out one of them. It's scripted that way. Okay. So if I can do it once, I just have to repeat the process. And hopefully I get lucky this time. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to snipe that eye. You only get like a very brief window of opportunity to hit his eye. Good, and he's pretty close to me actually, so I can get up to his second seal faster. Come on. No, don't go down. Come on, please. Stop moving. All right. Nice. After this, the only other one that I really dread fighting is the last one, number 16. But I'm making good time here. 10 down. Pretty good. After Colossus number 12, there'll be a different cutscene. But now we're on to number 11. By the way, if you climb up Dorman's temple and you run, you can't use aggro for this, but if you run all the way down the bridge, which will take a long time on foot, and you eventually reach that gate, there'll be a strong gust of wind that will stop you from proceeding. It basically acts as an invisible wall that prevents you from leaving this place. I've tried. But you actually, I think you get a trophy for trying. So it's kind of amusing that they, of course, they want you to try that. For those who actually do want a true boss rush mode, after you beat the game and start New Game Plus, you have the ability to do time attack, and all that takes place at Dorman's temple. You just interact with the statues. So in that sense, you can do after you beat the game once, you can do an actual boss rush and just, you know, without having to traverse the land in order to get there. But like I said, you know, traversing this vast empty space is part of the experience. It's part of the narrative storytelling here. This is definitely the smallest of the Colossi that we fought so far. Key is to keep him stunned. So I can grab this torch. Because he's scared of fire. What? Oh, man. Really? That was not supposed to happen. And of course, you know, this being the type of game it is, once you fall, it makes you stay down for a long time. In the wrong place, this guy can easily stun lock you by knocking you over, and because you stay down for so long, it gives him time to charge again. Oh no, flame went out. Okay. Didn't know that could actually happen, but being knocked down, I guess, delayed. So, gotta get him to leave. And if you get too close to him, he'll swipe at you. So you don't want that, but you do want him to fall before the flame goes out. Now, I can jump down and try to land on his back, and that'll make this fight so much easier, but it's also extremely risky, and if you fall down while you're there, it's going to be hard to get back up here without being like constantly stun locked. So I'm going to play it safe and just lure him back up here. That's really the best option, is just be safe. Because I really don't want to get stun locked to death down there. At least up here, I can use these things to my advantage and stun him instead of him stunning me. Because this thing's not very bright. And if you think some of these Colossi have been too similar to each other, like 1 and 6, wait till you see Colossus number 14. It's pretty much a copy and paste of this one, with the only difference being the arena in which you fight him in. Okay, I wasn't able to get a hit in on this one. Yeah, this one's kind of tough. You're not gonna really get full charges then. I might actually do this in one go. I normally don't. Okay. Come on. Okay, one more should do it. There. I usually like to get full charges, but this one makes a full charge pretty much impossible. Now, if I were to jump down from the ledge and land right on him, I could do a jumping attack that actually would be pretty effective, but like I said, it's one of those high risk, high reward, with an emphasis on the high risk. Alright, the next one is the last one that's located in the water. Okay, I've been streaming for about 2 hours now, and I have 11 defeated. I'm actually making pretty good time, despite how long number 3 took. I'm not in a rush or anything, but, you know, I'd rather not, you know, this not take all night long. In terms of Colossi that take a long time, the ones I'm most concerned about are number 13 and 16. Let's see, any white-tailed lizards? Stamina won't be important for these next few, but it will be important for number 16, so every little bit helps. Aggro is extremely slow in forest areas. And along these narrow cliffs. I might as well just run. Thanks for nothing, Aggro. Where did it go? Nice. For this stream, I actually thought about doing one of my save files with multiple New Game Plus cycles where I had maxed out stamina and health and all the time attack items unlocked and all that to breeze through it, but figure, you know, might as well just do a fresh new game, normal difficulty, show the intended experience for this game. So what I have here, you know, with my base level health and stamina and my base level bow and sword, that's the intended first playthrough experience. If you beat hard time attack mode, you can actually unlock the Queen Sword from Eco, which is pretty cool. Alright. There's two ways up on top of this guy's head. One is to swim around behind its back, and the other is to climb up its face. And I can't really say for sure which is easiest, because in theory, climbing up its face should be easiest if he cooperates, but that's one of the things where sometimes he doesn't come close enough for you to jump on him. So may just have to do this. So these little structures, you can actually go there, and if you hide behind one of the pillars, you can lure him closer and then jump and grab onto his face and climb up. But this is another option too, is to swim around his back. It's usually pretty difficult because he can turn usually faster than you can swim, but somehow I made it that time. And there's no weak point on his head. Instead, I have to get to his belly, and to do that, I have to use these teeth to guide him to these fortifications. So hit his teeth, and that sort of steers them to head over to these things. And the riskiest part right here is jumping from his... Yeah, that's what I meant. So the way he was moving his head, I couldn't... Okay, but this works out. I just hope he doesn't move too far away from here after I get up. Nope, not close enough, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not seeing a good jump opportunity. Whoa. Okay. This is one of those things that it's going to take 2 cycles, at least. Okay. A little bit over halfway. And of course, it destroys one of them, but there's 2 more left. So 2 more opportunities. And we only really need 1. If you swim underwater, it drains your stamina, but it also protects you from those lightning blasts. And let's see if I can get around him this time. The way he's moving a lot now, probably not, but we'll see. Okay, that actually worked. I suspect that swimming underwater makes it easier to get around him. This is pretty similar to Colossus number 4, in which you got 2 ways to get on top of him. Either climb up his face or climb up his back. Being quite aggressive there. Okay, this approaching straight on like that might not work because of those protrusions. So I may have to, I don't know, this may not work. I guess I have to get beside it and then have him turn. There we go. Now, as long as I don't mess up this jump, this should be the end of them. Nice. And now we're going to get a different cutscene after this. So this Colossus usually actually takes me longer to defeat, because I normally try to climb his face, and it's sort of RNG as far as whether or not he is close enough for that to work. Usually swimming around to his back is harder than this. So I got kind of lucky this time. Hopefully I get just as lucky with the next Colossus number 13, because it's one of the other ones where it can go pretty badly if you don't get it just right. All right, new cutscene. As you can tell from their dress, they're from the same people as Wonder. Because Wonder also wears a similar drapery over himself. And I'm in a forest area where aggro is useless, so I'm gonna go on foot. I will need aggro for this Colossus though. So hopefully he catches up. I just can't stand riding this slowly through this forest area. Like, the point of a horse is that it's supposed to be faster than going on foot. But aggro can't even manage that. Okay, I'm looking for a little pathway here. I think it's here. Like, I know they want to, I know the purpose is for aggro to feel like a real horse and like, you know, feel like a separate being with a mind of its own. But it also gets kind of frustrating. And I think you're supposed to be frustrated with aggro. I think that's what the developers intended. This isn't like Elden Ring where, you know, Torrent does exactly what you want, or The Witcher 3 where Roach is always right there as soon as you need him. Wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Nope, I'm actually not in the right place. I need to be going down in the desert. And if I can't find that little path, I'll just jump down. Okay, it's gonna be on the right, according to the map. So I'm looking for a tiny pass on the right. Wow, this is unbearably slow. But I'm so close, I might as well just proceed with aggro, because... Alright, never mind. Forget this. I can't do that. There's the pass I was looking for. I'll just have aggro try to catch up. Well, Colossus is kind of far off, so maybe he'll catch up before I get there. But for a game that's been remade twice, you think they could have done something to have some sort of quality of life improvement when it comes to riding aggro through forest. Come on, please. Please just come on. I really can't fight this thing on foot. Alright, I'll at least go to the safe temple and rest there and see what happens. Finally.
Yeah!
Most useless horse ever. But unfortunately I still need him. So to trigger this fight, I need to go into the this little Stonehenge structure. But aggro being as useless as he is, I'm gonna have him wait outside while I go in on foot, because I don't want him to be stuck here all day. Yeah, pop these 3 air balloons, and I like to pop the one in front last if it's doable. This is another one where it's probably going to take at least 2 cycles, possibly even 3 to defeat this one. This one can be kind of frustrating, and you'll see why. I have to jump on these fins. Whoa, come on. No, I don't want to stand up, I want to climb up. Close. If I can take out at least 2 of these before he folds the flaps, that would be good. No, okay. So this is if I take 3 cycles. I don't know how to avoid damage on. I guess I have to run to the front. Interestingly, this Colossus is the only one that is 100% pacifist. So we're killing something that is literally not attacking us at all, even in self-defense. Assuming you don't count diving into the sand as self-defense. But it's really just refilling its little bags. But the fact that it's totally peaceful means that, you know, more confirmation that Wonder is sort of the bad guy here. Nice, okay. Took out all three of them. Of course, popping the balloons is the easy part. The hard part is climbing up the fence. That's what's so easy to mess up. If you jump down too low and you're on uneven terrain, it can knock you off. Since I messed that up, I'm thinking 3 cycles. Alright. Let's go. When he's not spinning, jumping helps close distance to the back quickly. Okay. Three more to go. Well, 3 more and then a pretty lengthy ending cutscene. Now this next Colossus is almost identical to number 11. Even in the sense that you have to break the armor on its back in order to get to its sigil, or its seal. believe it's up in the far northwest. Not sure where to go here. I know it's gotta be somewhere in that northwest, but I was expecting to find a path. Really, aggro? You're gonna... Useless horse. Sees a small little bush and does a 180. Because that's really helpful. Okay, let's slow to a crawl, why don't we? Yeah, I'm done. Notice how that pretty much all these Colossi are confined in some way. They're usually located in structures that prevent them from leaving. The only one I can see that would really, I mean, obviously the ones that can fly may be able to break free, but even still, it looks like there's certain ruin fragments that the one with just fault seems to avoid, almost like an invisible fence. But the fifth Colossus, like the pterodactyl looking one, conceivably it could fly over its fence. But the rest of these appear to be confined. This could also be just a subtle mechanic to prevent you from using aggro on the fights that you're not supposed to use aggro. Alright, so this is number 14, and it of course is very similar to number 11. What? Okay, that jump went wrong. Oh, thanks. Oh, I'm just gonna be stunned here for a while. Nice try. He has to ram each pillar twice to knock it down. And he actually loses aggro, so you have to reacquire it. I really don't know why they need to do cutscenes. It actually can mess up your jumps. See, like I was on the bridge, but because there was a cutscene, for some reason I'm on the ground now. And like I didn't need a cutscene to let me know that the tower I was clinging onto is falling over. Like, I do have eyes. Like, I don't know what additional information that cutscene was supposed to impart, that simply observing that the tower is falling over wouldn't have told me. And if you do have to have cutscenes for cinematic effect, you know, you should sort of disable character movement during that time so that nothing actually happens to your character during the cutscene. Like, play actual videos instead of disabling, you know, normal movement. I find hanging onto the ledge to be safer than standing on top. Alright, now I was clearly on that platform. Hopefully it doesn't teleport me off the platform. I'm not touching the controller. Really? Okay, well in that case, I guess it was just a shockwave. So that's somewhat understandable. Okay. I can't outrun this thing, so the goal really is to have it stun itself and then... Nope, I thought that was gonna stun it. There we go. Because if you try to climb this while it's chasing you, it's not gonna go well. Alright, so now to hopefully have it knock this down without me being too close to it. Come on. Yeah, it's not taking the bait as easily this time. I need it to attack this pillar. Let's see. Come on, charge. Too close. But I think I'm in an okay position. Wow. Did not go well. This one's a little bit easier than number 11, as far as how long you can stun it for. It still aggressively shakes you off, but at least you can stun it for a little bit longer. Nope, that didn't work. Get one more charge. There we go. All right, here comes number 15 next. And I hear thunder outside, so there's a possibility my power might go out. with the way the power grid here is, it's like the wind blows too hard and I lose power. So, we'll see. I have a UPS, so if power does go out, it should only affect my monitors, and I should be back up pretty quickly. Usually when power goes out here, it's usually like a few seconds at most. Actually, on second thought, my PC is hooked up to the UPS, and my monitors are as well, but I don't think my PS5 is, just because of like how much of a power drain that is to have both the PS5 and the PC connected. So if power goes out, my PS5 will power off, but PC will keep running, which means the stream will keep running. That's the idea anyway. Getting closer. That little twinkling sound you just heard, that was one of those 79 hidden coins, which, like I said, in a first playthrough, there's no possible way to collect all of them. In fact, even that one, I don't think it's possible to collect in this playthrough. You have to climb up Dorman's Temple, run along the bridge, jump down, and then use a parachute you got from a time attack in order to get it. So basically, by the time you can get the Sword of Dorman, you've beaten the game so many times on both regular and hard mode, and beaten the Colossi quickly enough in time attack mode in those difficulty modes that at that point it's just pointless. Any lizards here? I mean, there are, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time searching for them if they're not immediately obvious. Okay. I can proceed. I suspect that these lizards sense when they're being aimed at. I forget whether it's normal or hard time attack, but one of the items you can unlock is a parachute. And you can do like this, if you keep opening and closing the parachute rapidly, you can actually travel a good distance while falling. And if you do so in this area, you're actually able to discover a hidden part of the building. This somewhat resembles a sports arena, except without seats. Oh yeah, you can notice Wonder's much paler now. And also, look at the way he's holding his sword and like the way he swings it. Like, not very coordinated. It should be pretty obvious that he's not really a warrior. He actually stole the sword. He's, like I say, he's not a warrior. He's on a mission. He's determined to finish his mission. But this isn't really his thing. He's out of his element here. And he's also... His goal to save Mono is allowing him to be easily manipulated by Dorman. To this point where he's not even really aware of what it's doing to his health. Didn't mean to call aggro. He can't actually come here. Oh, nice. Got a hit on his head. There's two seals here. One's on his head as usual. The other is on the palm of the hand that's holding his sword. Ah, he missed. He missed. I need him to stomp where I'm standing. He missed again. Do better. Come on. I need you to stomp right where I'm standing, please. There, that lifts up this end enough for me to climb up it. And now I need to get him to use the sword. Okay, I'm doing actually small chip damage to his head. There's a, like I said, there's a maximum to how much you can actually do on this with a bow. So I've probably damaged it with a bow as much as I can. should do it for that. Now I need to recover some stamina, and then I'll try to get him to drop his sword. Close enough now to where I don't want to take chances. I have enough stamina to not be risky. Nice. Now the hard part is baiting out an attack with his hand. He likes to use his feet more than his hand, so this could be a little bit tricky. Hand, please. Use your hand. Nope. I said use your hand. Not your feet, your hand. There we go. Nice. One more Colossus left. And unfortunately the last one is going to be the most difficult. So it could actually take me more than one try. We'll see. I'm ready to finish this, so I'm not going to bother with more fruit. I'll just try not to get hit. this only works when you have defeated 15 of them. Not sure I got him, so... Alright, I definitely want to save here, because there's a big chance of what I like to call death by PS2 era camera angle here. So, an analogy I like to use is, let's say you're driving a car along a narrow road with some twists and turns. You have to steer without going off road. It's pretty doable if your POV is behind the wheel of the car that you're driving, right? But let's just say that your POV is instead like 20 feet away off to the side of your car. How much harder is it to steer accurately then? That's what a lot of game developers in the PS2 era apparently didn't seem to consider. So, and that's what's going to happen here. They went for cinematic over practical, and unfortunately, badly designed mechanics are just not cinematic either. So we'll see how this works. Oh, good. And in case anyone is, reminded of the never-ending story, the horse dying there, Aggro is actually alive. It doesn't look like he should be alive. I mean, that should have killed him, but, plot armor. But of course, the effect, Wonder believes he's dead, and of course, the effect here is sunken cost fallacy. He's lost. When you lose something in pursuit of a goal, it tends to make people sort of double down and become that much more determined to see that goal through to the end. Because the thinking is, okay, if I was determined to complete this goal before, but now I really have to do it, because if I don't, then my horse will have died for nothing. It's called a fallacy, but to some extent it does make some sense. It can be used to justify decisions that were always illogical to begin with. But on a certain level, sunken cost fallacy can be kind of rationalized. Especially the whole make sure, my horse didn't die for nothing thing. Like when it comes to gambling, the fact that you've lost a bunch of money already doesn't justify, losing more money gambling. But when it comes to things like this, that sort of work on an emotional level, then yeah, I can sort of see how sunken cost fallacy can work. Alright, this one is rooted in place, very tightly imprisoned, but his hands still work. And those can be a problem because they can shoot beams at you. Not beams, like projectiles. And the projectiles are actually have a homing capability, so they can sort of follow you. So the first challenge is getting to him. and then the real fight begins. But even getting to him can be difficult. The timing part of this can be a little bit tricky because this thing doesn't always follow the pattern you expect it to follow. And yeah, it would be bad if you mess this jump up. No, this part's gonna be tough. See, didn't have quite enough time. And see how he starts firing some of these projectiles in rapid succession? You can't always predict the timing here. And this is why having a pretty good amount of health is important for this fight. And as I was saying, you know, these Colossi look like they've been imprisoned, especially the ones with rings on their armor. This one is totally encased in metal, and his feet are basically like completely covered in stone and sealed to the ground. This thing's not moving, which makes you wonder why was it still here to begin with? And all those fortifications we ran through looks like they were part of a battle at some point. Were they a battle against this guy, or what was the situation there? The game never really gives many hints about what the situation was, so we can only really speculate, and we don't really have much to go on for speculation. But it makes you wonder. Those questions themselves are interesting. Like, was some sort of great war fought against this thing to seal him? Or was this on the side of humans at some point? And notice how, interestingly here, on the side of this stone, this iconography, it's the same iconography as the seals that you destroyed. And same here, like, this sort of door symbol is the same as the symbols on the horseshoes that these things have. So I'm sure there was some meaning behind these symbols when they were designed. You just don't really know what they are. So far, my attacks are just for the purpose of getting it to react to me so I can climb up it. No! Okay, that could have gone very badly. Very badly. There's no obvious indication that hitting his hand will make it examine it, but that's just one thing to sort of figure out from trying it. Same for that. Normally bows do not activate these weak points. This is one exception. Now for the hard part. No. Ah, yeah, this is not going to make it easy. Nice. Let's see, I wonder if I can do this, and I don't want to take chances, so if it looks like I'm going to start getting low, I'm going to retreat. Yeah, I'm going to play it safe here. Because it looks like I have plenty of stamina, but it can be deceptive, especially if he starts doing his head like that a lot. You know, you could run out faster than you expect. So let me just stand here and recover a bit. Okay. Oh, so close. Okay, I'm not liking the looks of where my stamina's at. Again, it looks like I have plenty, but in this fight, that's deceptive. No. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna play it safe and just come this way. Oh, that could have gone very badly. Okay. Recover stamina. I know his health is so low that it's like, why not just go ahead and finish him off? No, you don't. This is a fight you do not want to take chances on. Even if it takes a long time, it takes a long time. I'm not doing time attack mode, so you know, I can afford to wait. If you're a fan of like Souls games, this is one sort of element there of, you know, managing your stamina carefully and waiting for the right opportunity to attack. Because like in Souls games, if you get greedy here, it can go badly. But that's the last Colossus dead. But now there's quite a bit of more story exposition to be had here. But that's the last actual challenge. As I said, I'm not gonna climb the tower because we're gonna see it in the end credits, the top of the temple. But basically, if you max out your stamina, you can climb to the very top of this temple, and there's fruit at the top that, if you eat it, will actually permanently decrease your maximum health and stamina. The rest of the fruit increases your health. This decreases your max health and stamina. It is also the only place where you can find wildlife other than fish, lizards, and birds. It's the most full of life area in the entire Forbidden Lands. But we'll see more of that in the end credits. And the reason I'm wanting to watch the end credits is not because I am recognizing the names here, besides the director, but because this actually ties in with the plot of Eco. Because, like I said, it's heavily implied that Eco takes place in this land several hundred years after the events of Shadow of the Colossus. And of course, I should mention that this language they're speaking is completely made up. So at some point, Mono comes back to life, but the game never actually makes it explicitly clear what triggered her coming back to life. Was it the fact that Wonder did what Dorman instructed him to do and killed the 16 Colossi? Was it something that this Elder did? Or was it a third event that we'll see in a moment? It's left up to speculation. And of course, now we see that Wonder has horns. And if you're familiar with Eco, you'll of course start putting the pieces together. I like survival. Maybe just a, you know, a few days bed rest. Good as new. Now at this point, is Mono alive or dead? I don't know. It's really left open. But yeah, as you can see here, Wonder's been fully possessed by Dorman. Every time we kill a Colossus, the black tendrils that came out are part of Dorman. And now that all 16 of the fragments have been freed, Dorman can now fully possess Wonder. Alright, calling Wonder a warrior is a bit of a stretch. You see how he carries his sword and swings it, right? Now, as Dorman, you can control Dorman and you can actually attack these guys, but it doesn't do you any good. Because no matter what you do, they escape. It's still fun to do anyway, but they'll escape. So one of the guys just grabbed the sword that Wonder was using. Of course, as mentioned before, it's a special sword. And you notice I'm losing health here when they're shooting arrows at me. I actually don't know if it's possible to die to their arrows. It's never happened before. It doesn't look like I'm losing more health than I have already, so it's probably not possible. I'm not really looking for these guys because, I mean, there's no point. Gonna do a cool little breath attack. But yeah, there they are escaping. When you complete time attack challenges, the items that you receive as rewards for the time attack appear in that pool down there at the bottom. So that's the game hinting to you that there's something special about that pool of water, because that's where the items like materialize. And that's also going to be the pool where he throws that sword. He could have, since this was a sword that Wonder stole from presumably the tribe, he could have taken that sword with him back to his tribe, but he's throwing it down here. And there has to be a reason for that, right? So watch what happens when he throws the sword into the pool. It's like throwing the One Ring into Mount Doom. And you can try to resist the pull of the vortex, but no matter how much you resist, it eventually is going to pull you in. If you have plenty of stamina though, you can actually get a trophy if you resist, I think, for like 1 minute or more. I've already gotten the trophy though, like all the trophies, so I'm not really interested in that. But it makes me wonder, what would have happened if Wonder had simply thrown the sword into his pool himself? If Wonder had come here and immediately tossed the sword into the pool, what would that have done to Dorman? Unfortunately, there's no way to find out because the game doesn't actually give you that option. I mean, you can jump into the pool yourself while you have the sword equipped, but that's not really the same. So if Wonder had decided not to listen to Dorman and had, thrown the sword into the pool, could a different result have happened? And when I say it's not clear what resurrects Mono, whether it's Wonder following Dorman's instructions, whether it's whatever that priest did when he was right by Mono, not priest but elder, or whether it was a third event. Throwing the sword into the water is the third event I was referring to. And we also have to consider, was Dorman lying to Wonder about this? Like he mentioned that, he said with the sword it's possible to resurrect Mono. But does that mean that Wonder necessarily had to use the sword to kill the Colossi? Or could the sword have been used to resurrect Mono in a different way? We don't know, but this leaves enough ambiguity for us to theorize about stuff like, okay, what would have happened if you would have thrown it into the pool? But yeah, right now we can clearly see that Mono is alive, but we don't know if she just now came to life or if she had been alive for a few minutes and is just now waking up. That's also unclear. Like, when when the elder was right next to her and he looked back at her, was she alive at that moment? Or was she alive when the sword went into the pool? Or even further back, when the last Colossi was killed? We just do not know. And that's one of the things that, to this day, fans of this game can argue about. She has a good sense of balance for someone who's been dead. Like, just stood up, no stumbling. Alright, if you've been in a coma for even like a few days, you would think you need some sort of physical therapy. And now she's gonna go climb a long staircase. Okay, so there's gonna be a credit sequence, but then towards the end of the credits, it's gonna show the top of Norman's temple, and that's where things are a little bit more interesting. Oh, by the way, during a playthrough, after you've killed a Colossus, you can go back to where you fought it and see its remains, and you can sort of refight it in like a black and white mode. Obviously, this doesn't apply to the last Colossus because the game ends once you kill it. But for the first 15, you can refight them during a single playthrough. It's called Reminisce mode. And the visual of these things, these support pillars turning green and then just disappearing into thin air, also is sort of reminiscent of Eco. Hello, Blockdaster. How's it going? So as mentioned before, Mono was sacrificed because she's considered cursed. Well, in Eco, boys with horns are considered to be cursed and they're sacrificed. So it's almost as if Wonder's actions in these Forbidden Lands, what he did was so abhorrent that it's like the curse has been transferred onto his lineage. So whatever caused Mono to be considered cursed that's now been supplanted with the horns that Wonder obtained from his actions. And of course, the implication here is that Wonder is the ancestor of Eco. And given that Mono is now older than he is, there's a Anakin Padme situation here. This door that they're emerging from, that's the door that Wonder enters from, but during gameplay it's sealed. Even if you climb the tower, the temple on the outside, it'll still be sealed. But yeah, if you're climbing the temple, this is the path you'll go up. And this is the garden at the top, and the fruit here is interesting. So this is the place where life can thrive. However, the fruit here is actively harmful to life. It decreases your health and stamina. So the place where life exists is also the place where the fruit on the trees will literally kill you. So it's almost like a Garden of Eden reference. And like the whole Garden of Eden thing, this is where life begins anew. So this is the Forbidden Lands is supposed to be a place where life cannot thrive. However, if Eco is indeed, as is heavily implied, the successor to this game, hundreds of years in the future, where a new civilization has sprung up in these lands, then that does imply that life does begin anew here, despite Wonder's actions. He is the predecessor to new life. But yeah, this was Shadow of the Colossus. Playtime was 3 hours and 46 minutes. So it's not a super long game if you know what you're doing. If it's your first time playing, obviously it's going to take longer to figure everything out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, despite being an older game, it's been remade twice. So the PS4 version is, despite its age and its weird mechanics, is still very much playable in the modern age. Even the PS2 version holds up pretty well. It's one of my favorite games. It's not one of the games that, I definitely look forward to playing, but it's a game where I would consider it an artistic masterpiece that is one of the most important games ever made as far as inspiring other game developers. The impact it's had on game development, even though you don't see a lot of imitators. I've only seen like one indie game that's imitated actually what this does as far as the concept of, climbing up giant monsters and killing them. But when it comes to things like the aesthetics of it, like I mentioned, this has inspired things like Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls, games like that. This has been one of the most important games ever made, in my opinion. So yeah, I definitely recommend giving this a try. Um, I'm a fan of this game. And yeah, I think if you give it a chance and you see past the surface level criticisms of, oh, there's too much empty space, I'm sure you'll enjoy it as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this stream. Thank you for watching. I will go ahead and end the stream now. And tomorrow is Elden Ring.